The Dow Jones breaks 13,000 for the first time since the economic crisis began in 2008, 7, whenever. I guess 7, really. That's when it was really starting to happen. Anyway, is it good news? Sounds good. Is it ready? Are we ready for the bad news, though? I'm Allen Barton. Stick around for Front Page. Joining me in studio, Tim Cavanaugh, managing editor of Reason.com, and Terry Jones, associate editor for Investors Business Daily. All right, Terry, what's going on here? I mean, my thought was, hey, you pump $5 trillion of deficit spending into any enterprise, like a big economy, over 3 years, something's got to happen.
Sure.
Right? I mean, is it reflective of economic health somewhere underneath?
Put more air in the balloon, and it'll keep getting bigger until it pops.
Is that what you think is going on?
Well, there's been a tremendous amount of monetary expansion over the last 4 years. I mean, shocking amount, really. The Fed has printed essentially $2 trillion in new dollars, and that has sort of greased the wheels of commerce a little bit because where dollars happen, you get a little bit more commerce. But you look at the unemployment numbers, and yes, we've seen the headline number come down largely. Because
of reducing the amounts of the fraction that they're measuring.
Yeah, the labor force has shrunk.
Let's get rid of 2 million people.
Yeah, but there are other measures of unemployment that don't show such a favorable development, and I think there are still lasting concerns here about what kind of job growth we're having. Really, it's certainly not enough. Even the last month's job increase, which was 230,000. Net new non-farm payroll jobs, that's not enough. Believe it or not, that's not enough.
Tim, what do you think of the stock market versus, as they say, Wall Street versus Main Street? That's the big cliche, right?
Yes. Wall Street is being rewarded by its traditional friends, the Democrats, and it's interesting to see.
What do you
sorry
mean?
To say it.
What do you mean?
Sorry to let it out. And the interesting thing with the unemployment is, I mean, we've seen such a suspiciously steep drop in the unemployment rate over a couple of months.
Just starting in January of 2012. I don't know why that would occur.
Down to 8.3% or something like that.
I would be amazed. I was truly astounded if it wasn't exactly 8% by, say, around Labor Day.
Yeah, possibly, just for the parade. But then now, who's going to be available to parade? If Gallup turns out to be right and we're back up at 9% at some point, I mean, the implications are bigger than just Gallup's conclusion that this is going to make.
Well, and then you've got the U3 versus the U6, and the actual real unemployment rate is 15%, and that has not moved. I don't think anyone's arguing that it has moved.
No, and again, reiterate, labor force participation continues to shrink. So, I mean, the reality is fewer people are working in this country out of the able-bodied people. More of them are sitting around doing nothing, not producing anything, and that's a reality we have to deal with. It's been dropping steadily. It's the lowest it's been in years.
Well, they came up with a compromise on this payroll tax cut, and there are all these tweets. What are you going to do with $40? What are you going to do with $40? Put it in your gas tank, because fuel prices are going off the charts. In California, it's crazy everywhere. It used to be like those few stations where you get to a certain intersection, you're like, what are you guys doing? Everyone else is at 380. Why are you charging 460? You know those gas stations? Like, why? I don't get it.
They're now all over.
All of them, 460.
Yeah.
All of them. What's going on?
Yeah. Well,
can anyone explain? Like, if you watch Bill O'Reilly, he goes crazy about this. Like, what actually has changed in the last 3 months? That gas prices are 80 cents up.
Well, one thing that's happened is the price for crude oil has gone up since the end of the last year from $108 a barrel to over $120 a barrel, and that is feeding through to gasoline prices. The other thing, we have lots, especially here in California, we have boutique blends that require intensive forms of refining.
Sort of 2% skim with like a little half, a little dose of.
And we get we get hammered with that because we can only use certain types of oil for it. So there are a lot of things going on here, but essentially, even though American oil producers are putting out more oil, it's still a global market for oil.
Yeah, because it's been a fairly mild winter. Tim, I'll bring you in on this discussion. And one would think mild winter, not so much heating oil being used, favorable conditions, a lot of domestic production. One would expect the price to be going down, and it's not helpful to Obama. So even if you're sort of a conspiracist who thinks that the manipulations are occurring to get Obama reelected, you wonder why the prices are so high.
And I'm going to tell you that this isn't just going to be the perfect storm. It's going to be the crack cocaine of perfect storms on steroids.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And there are two villains. You heard of the Bilderbergers. You've heard of the Trilateral Commission.
Yes.
The two villains here are supply and demand.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry to break it to you.
Wow.
Domestic production is not going to get us out of this. They could open up the Alaska Wildlife Refuge right now, and it still wouldn't really get us out of this. We have a lot of shocks going on internationally. There's more demand internationally. We're threatening a war with Iran. I don't know what's coming out of Iraq these days. We just don't have as much, as we need. And there is a little bit of indication that there is something recovering in our economy. Rail freight indexes, stuff like that.
Well, that was my next question.
Seem to be up.
Terry, I mean, a lot of people would say higher oil prices, high gas prices are a sign of an improving economy. Demand is up. People are doing more. People are driving more. It's not just passenger vehicles. I mean, industry uses huge amounts of oil in the manufacturing process. So, is it a good sign that this crazy, I don't know what this Tim Cavanaugh supply demand crazy thing is?
These people with their crazy theories.
There are people on levers somewhere. There's no supply.
It's speculators.
It's the speculators.
Please,
future
speculators. Two things. One, I have to differ a little bit with Tim. We have over 2 trillion barrels of oil underground. Now, not all of that is going to be easily recoverable, but we have quite a bit of oil. Shale oil and different kinds of oil. So there's oil out there, okay, but it's not easily recoverable. So we have to put programs in place to go after oil while we develop alternatives or while industry develops alternatives. But that said, in the short run, sure, a recovering economy can cause oil prices to go up, especially in the futures markets. But also, we've got things, and I think you alluded to this. Iran is, threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz. That's a huge thing because, a tremendous amount of the world's oil goes through.
It seems as though our fleet over there, I mean, the Admiral pretty much said, do it and
don't think about it.
No, just don't even think about it. Like, we will destroy everything.
We'll open the strait in one day. Who's going to destroy who isn't the issue. The issue is, are we setting up a good climate for business? I mean, oil needs to get sold. It wants to get sold. And you're right. There is a lot we can do with domestic production, and there's certainly a lot we can do with U.S.-Canadian production, i.e. the Keystone XL pipeline. If we don't just think about oil, if we think about energy, we need energy. And we are energy short in this country. We've gotten a lot shorter thanks to a laser-like focus on alternative energy sources over the last couple of years.
Those solar farms are going to come online, Tim, and you won't believe the amount of power.
I'm going to be the one, I'll be the last one trying to stop it. It'll shock me.
I'm waiting for more stories to come out about these solar farms and the harmful effects, like the sound waves, and they're creating a lot of illness.
Who speaks for the Kit Fox?
The
Kit Fox out in the desert is,
All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have. For Tim Cavanaugh and Terry Jones, I'm Allen Barton. We have solved the oil crisis with an oil pricing, economics, the stock market right there. Bang, 10 minutes. You've been watching Front Page.